Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Adam's TV Podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel, and today we are talking about the X Factor UK, the top 16. We are going to be doing a week in review. We're going to be talking about the 16X performances, the results. We're going to be going through it all. Joining me today, as usual, is my co-host, Eric. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great. I thought this was an above-average first live show.
I'm going to agree. I enjoyed this episode. I mean, this is only the second time I'm seeing most of these people sing, so some of my opinions on them might have switched a little. Some might have gotten better. Some might have gotten worse. Is there anyone this week who particularly surprised you, Eric?
Surprised me in a good way?
For better or worse?
Well, I'm going to be controversial, actually. Giovanni is the one that surprised me the most.
He was going to be my pick, too. I really liked that performance. Because I've only seen his Judge's House, and I didn't know that he was kind of a rocker, like that was his typecast on the show. I thought it was pretty good. Like, I watched it, I was like...
Here's the thing. I totally thought he was going to be cut after it, based on the series as a whole. I'm happy he wasn't. I mean, he's not going to last much longer, but I did enjoy that performance a lot. My biggest disappointment, I have to say Misunderstood, actually.
I told you, Eric. I had a feeling. They're an opener act.
It wasn't necessarily their fault because the sound mix was awful for that performance. And I listened to I bought the recording of it before the show, and it sounded so much better. So I'm not sure it was their fault, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. It was still fine, and they still deserved to make it through after it, but it wasn't a moment. So I'm a little disappointed. But
yeah. We will be getting to the performances in a moment. Right now, I kind of want to fast forward a little bit and kind of get to the headline of this week, and that is the results. So we had our 16 performances. The two acts cut were Armstrong and Ola, and Janice was in the bottom three. Eric, did the UK get it right?
Well, actually, I'm going to say yes, they did.
For the most part. I'm going to say yes, they did.
I mean... There were 6 acts that were interchangeable for me who could have gone, and I wouldn't have been mad. And all 3 of them were among those acts. So
I would have maybe swapped. Actually, pretty good, pretty solid bottom 3. I want to say, yeah. Eric, I do want to ask. So this format, is this the format that the show's going to go continuing on until we get to the finale, or is this just going to kind of end at like a top 12? Like how? Can you give me a little bit of a format update for what's going on?
Okay, so based on the number of live shows we have and the number of contestants we have, they have 6 more weeks of shows. 5 of them have to be double elimination. 1 of them is a triple elimination. My assumption is that they're going to get down to 6 by going two going home each week. Then they're going to cut from 6 to 3, and then the 3 is going to be the finale.
I don't know if I would like that so much. I would have, in my opinion, if you're going to have one of these like monster cuts, have it the first week. Do it the first week, because right now I can tell you there's like 6 contestants that I wouldn't mind just seeing gone this week. And do you kind of agree with me? Like, where do you kind of feel that those kind of cuts should be?
I'm of 2 minds on it, which I wasn't a long time ago. When I first heard of The Voice doing this bloodbath thing, I hated it. But on the other hand, it's nice to give more contestants a chance to do well and to actually grow and then have the cut. So I can understand that. My problem with having the cut at the end is that we get less performances from the best contestants, because if they do the cut earlier on, we get down to a smaller number earlier on, and then we get to 2 performances a week. Yeah. So that's my issue with it.
My opinion, cut like 6. Get it down to top 10, so that way we have 5 weeks. We could keep going from there. Like That's just my opinion.
I mean, I'm fine with the double eliminations and 1 triple. It's better than last year, I'll put it that way. Because last year they had 2 big bloodbaths.
I will say, though, I do kind of like this 2 people going home format. It's the same that the X Factor, the season that I remember was CC Fry, that they did. It is kind of interesting that they're doing that kind of starting at the top 16. Could you just remind me, what was the format of this round in the previous year?
Last year?
Yeah.
Last year was a mess. Last year they changed everything. Honestly, last year was totally different. They had 2 completely separate nights. So they had half of the acts perform one night, and then the result at the end of that night, half the acts the other night, and result at the end of that night. And then they did a prize fight instead of a sing-off, where the person who got the most votes on Saturday and the person who got the most votes on Sunday would do a sing-off, and whoever won got a prize.
And what was the prize?
Changed every week.
That sounds kind of dumb.
It was extremely dumb. This was much better.
All right, well, I like this format. I'm just looking what other things I want to touch on. Did I mention this before? But that this, I think I mentioned this in the pre-show. The set list for this week
was the most Simon Cowell.
I said this to Eric. I said this is the most Simon Cowell set list I've ever heard. It's One Direction. It's very old school music. It's all.
The theme was the most Simon Cowell theme as well. By the way,
the fact that this was the set list just proved to me that none of these contestants probably picked their songs. Do you agree?
We know that for a fact. That's how X Factor works.
Not even any say, like not.
I mean, they get a little bit of a say, but it's not up to them. It's the mentors and producers picking songs. That's how X Factor works.
Mentors.
I know.
All right. Just one final little general thing that I kind of like. I've never seen this round, so I did kind of like the epic walk on stage music. I don't know if you kind of like that, or is that how it's done in the past? Like when they were called to do the sing off, it was this really big pump up music. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool thing. This is I kind of get into it.
My favorite thing about the X Factor production is how each contestant has a voiceover guy, and we'll get to that in a second. Say their name.
We will get to that.
We will get to that. But and I'm a little annoyed with the introductions for the contestants this year because what I like, they used to have that same epic style music before each contestant walked out on stage for everything. At the end of their VT, they would have this music, and this year they're basically just letting the music for underneath the whole VT just blend in underneath, the stuff with contestants walking on stage and the name showing up, that type of stuff. So,
on the topic of the production, for some of these contestants, I feel like it was definitely a curse, like a blessing and a curse. A lot of these contestants, I feel it was more a detriment, but we'll get to that. So, Eric, we are going to start getting into these contestants. So, the theme for this episode is This Is Me. So,
from The Greatest Showman.
The Greatest Showman, and the This Is Me chose not at all by the contestants. So, first up, we have Misunderstood. They are doing a song that is an original called Chewing Gum, and they are opener act. Eric has been kind of hyping this group up kind of all, before we kind of started podcasting and in last week's episode. I want to ask Eric, did they live up to the expectations?
Not this week. They did not, but I'm not sure. Again, like I said before, I'm not sure it's their fault because the sound mix was a problem. The choreography was fine. The song itself was catchy, but the sound mix was problematic. So you couldn't really hear them singing over background vocalists.
In my opinion, first of all, I didn't really like the song. It was a little bit childish. I don't want to sound harsh, but it sounded a little bit like something that might have been on a Kidz Bop album. It was a little bit I didn't think. I was like, but for me, one of the things, even though you've kind of been hyping these people up, so far they've just kind of presented themselves to me as an opening act, and I haven't seen them give a performance like a headline performance. Everything I've seen is kind of all right, we're going to kind of get you hyped up for the next act coming up. Do you kind of get that vibe, or is that just me?
It's not just you, but that's because you don't know what they're capable of yet.
Well, they haven't really given me something to believe that they are capable of more. I know I've only seen 2 performances,
and I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed at them because of that, actually, because I know what they are capable of because I saw a video of them, and I'm hoping they pull out this cover sooner rather than later, because when they do, it's going to change the game for them.
I want to say I admire their energy. They seem very into it. I just, like I've said in the past, I've said this many times for multiple performances, a quieter moment is much more powerful than a fast, jumpy, dancey performance.
Agreed. And I feel that's what I'm telling you. That's what they need to pull out, because I know they have one in them.
Honestly, for me, these were the contestants that kind of took the biggest hit in my kind of rankings, because I was going off a little bit of what you were saying. They were kind of in my top 5. Now they're kind of slipped to this 8th to 5th place.
I don't think they slipped that much, but I think because I know that when things get desperate, they'll pull this out.
All right. Well, for me, I just can't see them winning anymore. Maybe they can.
I can't either, to be fair, but yeah, I can't either. But I still got my backup. We'll get to her.
For me, I think they just need to. I don't even know what they need. They need like an unplugged week. Like that's what they kind of need for them. I feel like a song that's kind of not as that kind of forces them to kind of go emotional. Maybe they just don't want to. I don't know.
Again, what I'm telling you is they have this cover on YouTube of "Jealous" by Labyrinth.
All right. Well,
and that's a song that's going to change the game for them.
Hopefully they can pull it out. What's our theme for next week, Eric?
Guilty pleasures. It's not going to be next week.
All right. Oh God, guilty pleasures of Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a little scary right there. You're getting me a little nervous. I'm expecting a lot of Greatest Showman now.
There won't be any because that was this week.
All right. Let's move on to Anthony. Anthony is going to be performing Issues. I think it's by Julia Michael. Am I correct there?
It is. And he auditioned with the song last year when he was on the show.
Yes. So. He seems very he's kind of a little bit of like a toned down, misunderstood. Like I feel his passion. Like I feel like he really wants to be on the show. His performance, there were some, I don't know if you picked up a little bit of pitchy little notes that I was kind of noticing. I think, but the thing is when he performs, he kind of gives his entire body to the performance. Like he really is like moving his body and getting into it, but he does it at kind of the cost of the pitch kind of getting a little bit off, that's kind of a little bit on which kind of you weigh more heavily, like passion or vocals. I feel more people are gonna like the casual audience is gonna more highly measure the passion. What did you think about it?
I thought it was good. I thought it was strong. I thought there were some pitch issues. But, yeah, I think that it could have been better. I mean, he's got a great tone to his voice. And when he's on, he's really on. But I'm not blown away by him, honestly.
Yeah, that's kind of my opinion. Right now, I feel like he's middle of the pack. Like
he's 100% middle of the pack.
He is going to get cut in that giant cut. I feel like
no, the cut he'll be cut before the giant cut.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like right now he's fighting for 6th place, honestly. Like, that's kind of his best hope. I don't know what he can do to break out of it, in my opinion. His vocal is a little bit limited, which is fine. There have been singers with limited voices that have gone far. I think he needs to tap into some creativity, if he has any. Does he play an instrument? Does he play piano? Does he play guitar? I think he needs to bring something out so it's not just... Maybe something that'll just kind of root him and stop him from kind of getting a little bit too much into it. I think what my advice is just stay still. Like just maybe even just sit down like on the stairs. Just sit down on the stairs and just sing like a slower song. Something that kind of...
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that's kind of my opinion of him. Like I said, I think him and Misunderstood they're both kind of they're not quite there anymore. Do you agree?
I wouldn't lump the two together because Anthony doesn't have the potential to pull out. Misunderstood have the potential to pull out. But if you're just judging it based on what you've seen on TV, yeah, I'd lump them together.
All right, let's move on to Danny Tetley.
Or is it Anthony Russell?
Or is it? Danny is performing Hero by the one and only Mariah Carey, and I was very confused. I was actually rewatching this performance at the gym, and I'm still a little confused what happened. So he comes out on stage.
Anthony's track again.
So
you notice that it was Anthony's backup vocals as well later on.
So yeah, I wanted to ask, is that all that happened? Like, what was going on? So they
literally played Anthony's track again. That's what happened.
This was not his fault at all, right? This was
0% his fault.
0% his fault, because I was trying to replay it, and I was like, what's going on? Is it just they said the wrong name, but the piano is still like all the same? Like,
no, it's 100% wrong.
Because there was one moment, like on my first impression watching it, I thought it was totally his fault. Like in my brain, like I didn't realize that they had said the wrong name, and he starts like singing, and he goes, "Stop!" And he like says something to like the band. He said something, and I was like, "Oh, is he like calling them out? Did he make a mistake and he's blaming it on them?" but apparently that was not the case.
No, the voiceover tracks have a wrong name, and the track was playing was the previous track.
Yeah.
So
maybe he should have just started singing Issues.
If he started singing, it would have been worse, actually, because it would have been singing with the wrong track behind him.
That's technical issues then. I feel like we can't really grade him, but we kind of got to have to give him a bit of a pass. But for his performance, first of all, I just want to say I really don't like this song. I'm not a fan of most Mariah Carey songs. Maybe it's just because I've heard them so many times. Here's
what I'll say. Despite the technical issues, and despite the fact that I don't like the song either, I thought this was his best performance so far.
I guess it was good. I mean, the fact that he has more of the story going for him because, he rose above the technical issues.
That's not it. I thought the vocal was excellent too.
It was excellent. I feel, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm so like, it's this song.
Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, there are songs where I can't get over him either, no matter what. Like, if you pick a certain song, I probably will not like the performance. But yeah, I mean, I get that, but I thought it was an excellent vocal. I don't think it's enough to get him past 6th or 5th place at best, but you know.
All right, so I got this question for you, Buff Danny. Do you think his win equity went up or down kind of from this performance? Where do you think he was going into this week, and is he leaving it in a better place?
He's living in a better place, but he's not going to win.
Yeah, like I said, I think him and Anthony, him and Anthony are kind of competing for 6th, 7th, 5th place.
Yeah.
They're kind of the ones.
My favorite thing, did you notice that Danny said he hoped that was sweat dripping down his leg?
Yes. He felt like a little bit of a stand-up comedian. I feel like he both sings and does comedy. He seems like a very charming person. His voice is very recognizable. Like when he talks, it just
I appreciated that joke.
Yeah. I liked it. I mean, I just really didn't like this song. I would never recommend
this song in a million years. Yeah.
I feel like it just didn't do anything. At best, sure he could sing it well, but it's not gonna appeal himself to the current demographic. I feel like he's just kind of sticking himself in that I'm in the older category. I feel like he's still in that bracket.
He is an older style singer, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna win.
Yeah, but if he's not willing to kind of branch out of it, that's going to take a hit on him winning.
Oh, totally. Agreed.
All right, so that's kind of my opinion of him. Let's move on to Molly Scott. She is doing a reprise of her Judge's House performance of Fake Love by BTS. And why did she sing this twice?
No idea.
No one even called her out on it. It was all of a sudden she's just singing and no one, I was like, did Simon's I expected Simon to say, I really enjoyed this performance in the Judge's House. I wanted you to sing it again. And just no mention.
No mention.
What was going on with it?
Yeah. I don't know. I think my guess is that they had a different song for her and it didn't work out. And the last minute they just said, sing your old one again.
Then why would you ever do that? Why would you give a contestant a song that maybe isn't fully cleared and we're just waiting on a maybe?
I think it was cleared. I just don't think it was, I don't think it was going to be good, so I think they changed it.
I think that's actually a really interesting point. I don't think I thought of it that way. That does make more sense why she would reprise it and kind of no one would say it. Maybe it was off script or something. But for the performance, I mean, my opinion of her I feel like she's one of the few contestants that's came into the week I was thinking she was going to be going home maybe early in the competition. Now she's another contestant who I feel is in that 5, 6, 7 bracket. Maybe even
disagree.
I don't know. I feel like
she's not going to make it that far.
I feel like I was worried that that she would get swallowed into the competition. The background vocals and the production, it would all kind of she would be the little girl going into the basement in a horror movie, not knowing what's going to happen. But she kind of handled it. It wasn't. Yeah. In my opinion, this was still a B- performance, but it wasn't a train wreck like I was expecting. I was kind of thinking this is going to go all the ways off the rails. It's going to be a D+, but she kind of handled it well, which kind of gives me some more higher opinion of her. Am I crazy, Eric?
If you think she has a shot at winning, you're crazy. But
no, not a shot. I said 5, 6, 7, maybe 4.
I think that's still a little bit crazy. I think 8, 9, 10.
I think that's fair too. Maybe, maybe she could surprise us. Who knows? I feel like she is maybe a little bit of a wild card. She is one of the most current girls on the group, so I feel like this could still swing around. She reminds me a little bit of like the Wide-Eyed season, the first season before she was sent through on season 17 of Holly Kavanaugh on American Idol. Like the girl that's a little bit the one before she came back and did really well. Like imagine if the Holly from the season. Yeah, imagine if the season 10 Holly was kind of sent through and like she's a little bit like, but maybe she could kind of learn as she goes and take it on in. Maybe she can do it. I don't know.
Doubt it. Let's keep going.
I'm gonna say just lastly, Bleed in Love. Look at the Holly Kavanaugh songbook. That is my suggestion to Molly Scott. I think that is where she needs to go. Next up, we have Janice Robinson. She is performing Clarity by Zedd, and I just wrote in my notes, why this song? What, Janice, why are you doing this song?
The song choice was not the problem. I think the song choice was actually spot on. The problem was the vocals were really strange. It didn't sound very good.
I do want to say, because I'm a little bit like they used to do on Reality Caps. I want to start with some good things. I really like the staging for this performance. I thought it was really cool, like the kind of universe going on behind of her. Like it was really, I was like, it's a pretty background. But the problem for me was I was more intrigued and interested in the background than the performance. Why are we giving her Clarity? Like,
it makes a ton of sense. Here's the thing. It does make sense to give her that. She her biggest hit back in the 90s was a dance song. So she should be doing dance. That's where she would fit in the market if she was going to be back in the market.
I just can't get out of my head that this is the equivalent of a lighter busing. Like this is not something.
I think everything they could have done to help her, actually they did. I think the problem was the vocal was bad.
I think they tried to help her, but they kind of like in this case, I feel like the producers maybe had her best interests at heart. Like they came up to her with a song and were like, here, Clarity, thinking it would be like genuinely thinking, all right, Janice, this is like a gimme. We're giving you a good song. This is like how they gave Dalton Life on Mars. Like this should work. But maybe it's just because the producers or whoever suggested the song is kind of out of touch. Maybe because she needed something maybe like, I don't know, a Rihanna, like a Take a Bow or a Beyonce, like kind of
100% with what you're saying.
It's just my opinion. I do feel like she was kind of in the good graces. Like this is one of those rare situations where the producers maybe have like some positive things and are genuinely trying to help her. Like you said, the vocal had some issues. I think she's fodder. I think she's gone in the next 2 weeks.
I think she's gone next week.
Yeah. I don't even know like what advice to give to a contestant like this. Where do you go from here, Eric?
Rest her voice, because I think the problem was the vocal entirely. That's my thing. The problem was the fact that her voice was extremely strained. It didn't sound very pleasant at all.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those cases. This is like if she was on my team, I would be like, oh, what are we gonna do? Like, what's a good idea? Because I would want her to keep her current. I would want a current like modern song. Maybe there's some like ballad of Ariana Grande that she just released her new album. Like, there's got to be maybe something like.
I don't know.
That's just my opinion. Like I said, she's in trouble. But let's move on to Brandon Murray. And this performance of his, he performs Break Free by Ariana Grande. I was kind of in a certain impression going into this week. I picked him first for our draft. And I was kind of thinking he would be maybe our winner pick potentially. But this episode kind of convinced me that he is more Dalton Rapatoni than Trent Harmon. I thought he might be the Trent Harmon. Now I think he's more the Dalton. Do you think that's a proper analysis?
I think at best he is like third or fourth.
Yeah, he took a hit. Like this was, he got a proper busing from Simon. I feel like the bus is revving its engine. It's coming for Brendan. Look over your shoulder. It's coming for you. This was the weird thing was in the pre like package, he was playing guitar and then all of a sudden no guitar. Like was he doing a different song?
He was. I think he was.
I don't know what's going on. I feel like some of these contestants, like this is another case of why this song? Like, this is something that...
Here's the thing. I liked it. When I first saw it, I'm like, I was starting to think he might be the winner. I love the arrangement. He got a recording voice, and then nobody stood for him, and then the busing started. I'm like, wow, I guess that was wrong.
I feel this was another case, Brandon, that I touched on a little earlier. I think production did a bit more harm than a blessing to him. I feel like maybe it was all a bit too much. He needs like a Chris. You know, I'll be honest. He reminds me a little bit. This is kind of gonna sound a little crazy. He reminds me of a cross between Dalton and Chris Allen, like a little bit. Is that too far? I think that's a little far.
That makes zero sense. But
I feel like he just needs to bring out the acoustic guitar. I think he needs to go down the WG route, drain that resource for everything it's worth. I don't know. Yeah. That's what I got.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, let's move on to Bella Penfold. She's performing Beneath Your Beautiful, and I really love this song. Like, aside from Bella's performance, like, I love this song. This is one of my favorite songs.
I like this song a lot too.
It's people need to cover it more because it's just so beautiful and it's just so
Simon
good.
Makes money when people cover it, so that's why.
Yeah,
that's why she.
So for Bella's performance, I'll be honest. When we did our draft, Eric, you and I, and she was picked last. She was the last pick of our draft, I believe. Was she? No. I might have picked her. She was near the end, and I had completely written her off, basically. And she comes out on stage, and she starts singing, and I was like, what? Like, she was really good. Like, she starts singing the Beneath Your Beautiful part, and I was like, this is beautiful. Like, oh my God, this is really good. And then she kind of did the rapping, which was, I mean, I get her story. I get she wants to put that out there, but I feel like it would have been so much better if she just stuck to singing the Beneath Your Beautiful because it was so pretty. It was so good. I almost would have ranked it like my top 4 of the night. What did you think?
I'll put it this way. The vocals on it were by far her best so far in the competition. Not even close, her best vocal so far. I'm still not a fan. I think she justified her place on the show entirely. I'm not a fan of rapping either. But I think that her voice, while it was better than it's ever been before, still wasn't good enough that she should just stop rapping entirely.
I really like that. Like
I'm glad you like it. I like it too.
Like she really rose, like, in my opinion. Like I was totally like, she's gone. Now I could see her 9th, 8th, maybe. Like originally I had seen her like out this week or next week, but this was a clutch performance, even with the rapping, I will say, and good for her. Like, I love these moments. These are the moments on these shows. Like, this was one of the reasons why I enjoyed this performance. When like a Haley Reinhardt, who everyone has written off, kind of comes out and does a bit better. And I like those moments. They're the reasons I enjoy the show. And I just hope I would like her to drop the rapping because she's not going to. I know she's not going to, but it's doing such a disservice because she has such a beautiful voice. And that's all I can say. So, shall we move on?
Yep.
We move on to Armstrong Martins. He is singing in one of the most bizarre song choices of the night, Story of My Life by One Direction. And
what do you think?
Some rapping and this was, I feel like he kind of justified his elimination a little bit with this performance.
100%.
It was kind of a mess.
I'd say manic is a generous way of putting it. I thought it was awful. I'm sorry, I did. The rapping at the start of performance, and then he transitioned to singing, and the transition was so sloppy. It was almost jarring, like how bad it was. And then all 4 judges stand at the end, and I'm like, were they listening to the same thing I was listening to?
I forgot to mention this in the early beginning, but I feel like we've kind of reached American Idol level of standing ovations. Yeah. You get a standing ovation. You get a standing ovation. Like everyone. Simon Cowell, like standing for everyone. Like, do you remember season 9 when he didn't stand for a single person the entire season?
Yeah.
Like, what has happened to our singing shows, Eric? What has happened?
standing ovations have taken over. So
yeah,
I thought it was a mess. I'm not mad he got cut at all. In fact, he was the actor I was most hoping would get cut because it was so bad. I don't want to listen to it again. I'm sorry. It's horrible for me to say.
We'll touch on him a little bit later once we get to the Sammy performances at the end. But for now, shall we keep it going?
Giovanni.
Next up, we have Giovanni. And Giovanni was another singer that going into this episode, I had kind of written off. Him and kind of Bella were kind of at the bottom, and Armstrong were kind of the ones that I was almost like having a problem forgetting. Like when I was thinking of the contestants, I kept forgetting Giovanni. And I just want to say, after this performance, I'm not going to forget him. This was really good. Like, this was really good. What did you think?
The vocal was 100% excellent. There were a couple of parts that were a little pitchy, but honestly, overall, the tone of his voice, and he basically slayed this vocal, I think. And the fact that all the judges stood for him, I get it. I like him a lot. I don't think he's going to last, but I like him. I like his performance a lot.
I'm a little confused how we're in the top 16 and we only have one rocker. I don't know how that...
Rockers don't usually go on X Factor.
But, you know, I feel like the rock genre is kind of the perfect genre for the X Factor because it is all noise and sounds and, like, playing guitar really loudly and drumming really loud. Like, I feel like this should be where rockers kind of live, in my opinion. And
yeah, but they don't. For reasons.
For reasons. Anyway, another case, him and Bella, like...
Yeah, they were the two that surprised me the most, honestly.
These two have kind of... They were, like, between 6 and 10 for me, and now they're kind of more 10, 11, 9.
Okay.
I just want to say, I enjoyed this. I feel like maybe he could still surprise us. He's like Arcade Feiner. He's the one...
No, he's not. No.
I'm just saying he's the one rocker in the...
No. There's no comparison. I'm sorry.
Because Giovanni's better?
That is true.
That was a joke. Oh,
I think he is, but...
I thought I was making... Cade is really good. I love Cade.
I thought Giovanni's a better voice. Cade's a better guitar player.
All right. Any final thoughts, or you want to keep it going?
Let's keep going.
All right. Next up, we have a new boy band because they have changed their names. This has happened with a few. I think it was them, and the A-Star has also changed their name.
Yep.
Can you give me a little bit of background to why the name change kind of came about?
I don't know why it came about, but it's the right move. So I'm not going to complain.
They kind of perform slow hands, and they kind of want to show a more cheeky side to them, I guess, in the performance.
Yeah.
Did they do that, Eric?
No.
And I feel even if you're going into a performance saying I want to show my cheeky side, like you've already lost the battle. Like that is like no. They're not gonna the public, I feel, isn't gonna vote for someone who's like, I'm going on to have fun. I want to show my crazy side. Like that.
They have in the past, but
I feel like that doesn't kind of paint them as like. I feel like on shows like American Idol and the X Factor, the public kind of leans towards the more serious acts that kind of like, I respect my craft.
Not necessarily.
I don't know. I just feel like
not necessarily. On Idol, yes. On X Factor, no.
I said America's Got Talent, I thought.
You said X Factor.
I was talking, I meant America's Got Talent. Like Shin Lim. Like the singer, the winners of these shows are usually kind of like this. They're more like in their craft and they're more like
agreed. Okay.
This was kind of like, I'm going to go have fun. Which is...
I had fun on stage. I hope everyone else had fun too.
Did you have fun, Eric?
No, I did not.
All right.
For me, it was okay.
The performance... okay. Like it wasn't a train wreck. It just wasn't...
Yeah. I do want to touch for like a second on Robbie's comment that they were better than One Direction at this point. Because he got booed for that. I'm like, what's the booing about? They were. One Direction were awful at first, and they got better, thank God. But they were awful. I'm sorry.
I just remember the first taste like I remember of One Direction was "What Makes You Beautiful," And since then, it's just been a whole mess of some good songs, but some not. I didn't even know they were on the X Factor, honestly. I found out a little.
They came in third, and they deserved to come in fourth.
Shots fired. Does United Vibe? I kept almost called them United 5. Does United Vibe have a chance of maybe pulling a One Direction, or do you think this is not the case?
100% now.
All right, let's move on to.
But then again, if you asked me, would One Direction do really well? I would have also said 100% no. So I'm not good at predictions. Let's keep going.
I'd written off Bella and Giovanni. Who knows? You never know. Let's move on to Shan Echo, I think is how you pronounce it. It sounds like Echo. I kind of like that.
Okay.
Echo. Shan Echo.
He's going to be here till the end.
All right. She is performing Imagine by John Lennon. And she kind of does this performance a little bit a cappella in the beginning, and the band kind of comes in. And I just have this kind of gripe that's not really in Shan's direction, but I don't understand why singers kind of start a cappella and then have the band come in, because in my opinion, her doing a cappella was amazing, was really, really good. And I was like, please, I was listening to this. I was like, don't let the band come in. Just do it all a cappella. It'll be like a moment. And then the band came in and I was like,
You know what? It was still a moment.
I will say it was still top 4 of the night for me, in my opinion. It was a good performance.
She's now a favorite to win again, by the way, after this.
Yeah, I wish it would have been so much more beautiful. I don't know why contestants kind of.
I agree with you. I thought it was a knockout vocal, though. I thought it was excellent.
The one performance that was like entirely a cappella on any of these shows that I could think of was Bo Bice, and I don't understand why more people don't
steal that, because a lot of people have better voices than Bo Bice and are not horrible people.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen people who have better voices than Bo Bice. I mean, Bo Bice is phenomenal, but of the people who come and go on American Idol and the X Factor and all these shows, I don't know why they don't take a note out of his page. Is it like the producers are kind of like turning it down, like, no, don't do that. It might not be smart. And that's my advice. Like, I will never say no to a contestant going a cappella. Like Bella, Armstrong, anyone. A cappella is always going to be so
I don't think
fun.
would have been very good, but
Arms gone. No.
That wasn't good enough to justify a reaction.
All right. Shan, I just want to say, really good performance. I think she deserves her frontrunner status. I do want to see some risks from her. I do want to see her kind of do some kind of different things. I want to see her go current. If she's going to be the favorite, I want to see her doing original. Maybe she should do an original song. Does she do an original song? What?
Last time she did one, remember?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't remember. It was a lot of performances. There was top 24.
Yeah.
But who knows? All right.
Okay. Can we skip Ola, please?
Let's just touch on him really quickly. So he does an original song. It's called Jiggle It. And let's move on to our next contestant.
Let's, please.
What was that?
Can we please just move on to the next contestant? It wasn't good.
All right. It was a little bit of a mess. I do want to give him a little bit of just attention because he was on the show. But next we have Scarlett Lee performing Natural Woman. And I don't know if it was like the makeup or her outfit. She just like a little bit like she reminded me, her look looked a little bit like Kelly Clarkson. I don't know if this is just me being crazy. Like ignoring the voice, just her look. It was a little bit like I was like, if I'm a mile away squinting, I might be able to see like Kelly Clarkson here, which is a compliment. I also do think for her voice, she's really good. She's really good.
Yeah, the best vocal of the night for me, besides Dalton.
Yeah, I don't like this song. Eric and I kind of toyed with this idea kind of going into the podcast about doing a recap of all the most overdone songs that are not worst, most overdone songs on these shows. And Natural Woman's kind of up there. I feel like I've heard it so many times. I hate these overdone songs that are so many times over and over. But, she sang it well. She did a good job. And it was good. Top 4, in my opinion. Her and Shan are so far filling out my top 4.
Agreed.
like I said, for all the other contestants, I feel I sound like a little bit of a parrot. Current. I don't want to hear you singing the Mariahs and the Whitneys. I want to hear you singing the modern songs that are on the charts right now. Lady Gaga, all these people. That's where you should go. That's where you should go. And that's all I can say for Scarlett. We move on. 3 more acts to go, Eric. We have LMA Choir. They are performing The Circle of Life, and I've written this down for other contestants this night. We've touched on it. Why this song? What do you? I just want to ask, like, whoever suggested this song, like, they should.
Whoever suggested this song really wanted them to be called LMAO Choir.
Like, what? What are you supposed to?
That deserved a better reaction than it got. I'm sorry.
Imagine being on the show and like you've gone through these rounds, you've dealt with the stress, and the producers come up and go, "You're doing The Circle of Life." I'd be like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" Like, I would look at it and I'd be like, "What the hell do I do?"
They do what they should have done with it.
I mean, they did what they could. It wasn't the worst, but I just couldn't get that opinion out of my head. Like, I was watching it like this.
What?
Like, I don't understand. And hopefully they get better songs in the coming rounds, because right now they're towards the bottom of the rankings for me. They are in the bottom 4 for me right now of our top 14.
Here's my thing. Lead singer is excellent. She should be on her own.
Yeah, she should have been. And hopefully not with Circle of Life, because I just
sang the snot out of it, but she did sing the snot out of it, but she shouldn't have been singing it with a choir. She should have been singing it by herself.
I just feel
she had to sing it all
since like it's just such a bummer. Like it's like to get so far and it just kind of lets out a big fart. Like what are you supposed? Nothing against the performance. I'm talking kind of about like the song choice, and. They're just kind of reading fodder to me, Eric. I'm not getting anything more than that. All right, let's move on to
real fodder.
No longer A star. How do you say that? Like the group formerly known as A star.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce their new group?
Acacia and Aaliyah.
It's Acacia or Acacia?
Acacia and Aaliyah.
All right, they're performing Finesse.
Going Buzz voiceover guy.
We should just go through this recap and just keep calling everyone Anthony. They do Finesse by Bruno Mars and Cardi B. Eric, are you a fan of Cardi B? Do you enjoy her music?
No.
All right. These people, let's see. What did I think? I mean, not my genre, not the kind of music I would particularly listen to.
Here's my thing. The production was, I thought, the best of the night. I think the vocals were mediocre.
Yeah, this is another case. Fodder, like
total
fodder. I think they're going to be in trouble next week.
I think so.
I don't even have that many notes on them. They're just like kind of forgettable in my opinion. Yeah. They performed later in the show, but I was just watching them going. They were another case where I was like,
I think they were second to last, only to elevate who was last.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Best of luck to them, but I don't even know what you do here. I don't know. The groups are a bit of a mess this season.
Not all of them. I think this is
one of them.
One of them could turn it around.
All right, let's move on to Dalton Harris. He is performing Life on Mars by David Bowie, which is my personal favorite David Bowie song. That and Rebel Rebel and Heroes, my favorite songs of David Bowie. And this was really good. Or like really good. This was filling out my top 4 of the night. I would put Dalton, I would put Scarlett, I would put them with Shan, and who would be my last one that I would put up there? Crazily, maybe Giovanni, which is crazy to say. But what did you think about his performance here?
I thought it was the best of the night. I think they saved the best for last. I thought what I wrote in my recap, my live blog was this could have either been awful or amazing. I have to say, it's pretty damn amazing. So yeah. The one part where he hit the falsetto note towards the end, I got chills. I'm sorry. And then the glory note, and then I thought it was excellent. I thought it was maybe not his best performance, which is saying something, but I thought it was amazing. I loved it.
I like Dalton because he's consistent so far. He's kind of the first week that I saw
a bad performance yet. He hasn't.
Which I feel could be trouble. Should he have one wobbly performance, it could be quite a big hit to him. But I really like this. I'm a big fan of American Horror Story, and every time I hear the song, I always think of that show because it was performed there by Jessica Lange. But he did a good job with it. I thought it was, maybe even top 2, maybe even the best of the night. I think he's slowly becoming a contender. Do you think, though, Eric, he could win?
I think right now he's second in the odds.
To
Shan.
And who's in the third?
I think, was it Brendan?
Not Scarlett?
No, Scarlett's fifth.
I feel like so far that's our top 5. Like
Brendan, Dalton, Misunderstood, Scarlett, Shan are our top 5.
And Brendan is at most risk to losing it to someone who I don't even know who he would lose it to.
I don't know.
Bella? I don't know. Giovanni,
no. Bella, maybe.
I mean,
don't get attached to Giovanni. He'll be gone soon.
I liked his performance. I
know, but don't get attached. Is what I'm
maybe
saying.
it was just because I had such kind of low expectations, but I do just want to say, like, this was everything kind of. We've kind of hit the end of the show, but I do just want to say this was kind of like the everything I kind of remember about the X Factor. The Simon Cowell song list, the kind of mixed bags of the performances. Some are really good, some are great, but it kind of had a lot of variety. Like, even though there were some kind of subpar performances, I did really enjoy it as a whole. Like, I think there are some contestants who have a lot of room to grow. I feel like there's some clear fodder to kind of give those contestants some wiggle room to kind of try something to maybe improve. I'm excited. Are you, Eric?
I will say, this is the first time in years where I do not have a clear favorite at this point. I don't even have 2. I have like 4 acts that I like. First time in years that's been the case. So I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this year.
Yeah.
I'm excited to not know what's going to happen.
I'm hoping for some showstoppers. All I want to say is I want to see some.
I know one of them could come, but
we'll see
if they if they do it.
So that is kind of our episode. Eric, do you have any final things you want to touch on? Any final opinions, grievances, raging on Simon Cowell? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I love good first week. I do want to touch on Raxu's guest performance real fast.
Go for it.
Do you not watch it?
I did not manage to catch it. I was just watching the kind of sing-off. We didn't touch on the sing-off. We didn't touch on the sing-off.
We don't need to. This is more important because Raxu won last year of X Factor. For the first time since I started watching in 2009 where I did not like the winner. And boy, did they not disappoint. Yeah, I thought the performance was the eyesore to kill all eyesores. And I want you to watch it after this ends. Just fast forward halfway through and try to watch it and try not to throw up. Because it hurt my eyes. It's hard to explain why it hurt my eyes. Like, they did some weird effects with the screen and stuff. And it looked so horrible. It was hurting my eyes. And it didn't sound much better than it looked. So...
All right, I'll check it out. I feel like we do owe it a little bit just to say goodbye. So we lost Ola, we lost Armstrong. Janice lives to sing another week. I just want to say, during her Sabi performance, what was she wearing on her head? Like, what was that? I was like, that looks just uncomfortable and hard to see through.
Neither of the Sabi performances were any good this week.
All right, I got one final kind of controversial moment.
You would have saved Armstrong?
I maybe would have saved Armstrong because I feel like it's kind of like, nothing's kind of really going to happen with either of these contestants. I feel like Armstrong is kind of a little bit quirky. I feel like Janice is kind of dime a dozen. I've heard it 100 times.
Here's my thing. I would have sent them both home. But if I had to pick one, I might have picked Armstrong as well. I'm sorry.
It's crazy.
Not by much.
I would have honestly all of them.
I would have flipped a coin. Honestly, I didn't care. I would have sent it to deadlock.
I imagine like Simon Cowell no longer in a seat, and Eric is in a seat, and these two contestants are like staring at him with puppy dog eyes, and he's like, "I'll flip a coin," and they're like, "No." That is my opinion. They were both their singing performances were kind of.
They were both not good.
I just don't understand.
Both of their vocals were like very strained to me. That's my thing.
Why couldn't we bounce all three of them, LMA Choir, Casey, and Aaliyah, and just have a top 11? Is that?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we just
do that? Then
we have 5 weeks, so we do. Doesn't that work? Doesn't that work better?
It would work a lot better, but yeah, whatever. What are you gonna do?
Like on American Idol, like they go from the top 24 to the top 13, 10, or whatever. Like that's kind of what we need at this point, honestly.
Okay.
But that's all I have to say. And I just want to say to Eric, thank you so much for joining me today for this podcast. My name is Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox or on my 2 websites, adamsoapbox.com and adamcvblog.com. Where can we find you, Eric?
EricAscher.com, Eric_Ascher on Twitter, and YouTube, Eric Ascher 01.
All right. So this was fun. We will be back next week for Guilty Pleasures Week, which I cannot wait to see. And the return of
Little Mix. Yay, Little Mix are coming back.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was fun. We will see you again next week. Bye.